Alright, bear with me here because I have kind of a complicated opinion on Ford, but if you watch this channel, you know I've got complicated opinions on every single company. I'm like this huge Tesla fanboy that will also rant on Tesla, and literally on the same video, I will get people saying I'm a hater and a fanboy of the same company. So let's address the good news here. So Ford recently announced that they've signed a contract with CATL, who's the company currently building most of the world's lithium iron phosphate batteries. And as far as the United States is concerned, basically only Tesla is using lithium iron phosphate in the Model 3 rear-wheel drive right now, which I'm hoping to take delivery of in the next couple months, but I genuinely think this battery chemistry is the future. So to see another brand announce that they plan on using LFP moving forward gets me really super excited for a couple of reasons. So for one, they said they're going to start introducing it with the Mach-E, which is a crossover, and of course when you get a lithium iron phosphate vehicle, that means you can charge it to 100% regularly. In fact, you're encouraged to do so. The cycle life of that battery is much better, and because the battery is cheaper, it typically goes into more affordable vehicles. So even though it's been hard for Ford to sell the Mach-E quite a bit due to recalls and chip shortages and the slow ramp of that vehicle, I still think it's an overall good thing because so far Tesla has shown no interest in introducing a lithium iron phosphate Model Y in the United States. So if you're like me and you can make that compromise and get a sedan, then the Model 3 rear-wheel drive is an incredible value, and you get that new next-generation chemistry that's supposed to last a real long time, and you get to kind of, abuse that battery more because it charges up to 100%. You don't have to be careful about, oh, should I stop at 80, or maybe I should stop at 70%, depending on what day of the week it is. Just charge it to your heart's desire. Basically, charge it the way you charge your phone. And now that that chemistry is coming to the Mach-E, it will be available in a crossover in the United States, which is currently not a thing. So I'm excited that Ford might actually start introducing LFP crossovers to our market. And even more so exciting than that, they said that they plan on bringing lithium iron phosphate to the F-150 Lightning in early 2024. So we've got a little bit longer to wait on that one, but some of you may know if you've been watching for a while, but I'll double down on this. If I were in the market for a pickup truck, which I'm not, but if I needed to get one, the F-150 Lightning would absolutely be my first choice. The value of that truck, even with dealer markups being $5,000 or $10,000 above MSRP, is just so insanely good. You get all-wheel drive, you get a huge bed, a huge frunk, lots of interior space, and with the Pro variant starting at $40,000, and that's before federal tax credits, which probably shouldn't last very long. In fact, by early 2024, you probably won't get the federal tax credit with F-150 Lightnings anymore, but still, compared to Rivian, who is hoping to eventually one day launch an R1T for $67,500, I love the Rivian. That's a fantastic product, but still, that's a heck of a lot more money than what the F-150 Lightning is going to cost, and the Lightning has some cargo advantages over the Rivian. So, lithium iron phosphate, I think, is the future of batteries, and by the way, Elon does too. On Tesla's last earnings calls, he doubled down on that. He thinks 2/3 of all batteries in the future are going to be lithium iron phosphate, and the nickel-based batteries that we see in long-range Teslas right now, he thinks will continue to just be for higher-priced vehicles, 50,000 and up, for people who want the longer range stuff, for people that want to do long-distance towing. They're going to need the nickel-based cells, but if any of you out there are watching EV content thinking, I want to buy an EV someday, but not within the next couple years because I need to wait until electric vehicle prices come down a lot more than likely you're waiting for a lithium iron phosphate vehicle because iron is so much more plentiful than nickel. The ramp up of LFP is going to go so much more smoothly, and CATL has announced plans of expanding their manufacturing even in the United States. So if you're holding out on $30,000 or $25,000 or $20,000 electric vehicles in the future, you're probably waiting for a decent EV that has LFP in it. And the idea that the F-150 Lightning, which is already this incredible value, is going to get even better with a battery pack that you can charge to 100% every single day, and it will likely still have to be a massive size battery pack, like 100 kilowatt hours or so, but their target standard range on the F-150s is 230 miles, which obviously is a lot more obtainable if you can charge the truck to 100% regularly, opposed to 80 or 90% regularly. So I got really pumped when I found out Ford was planning that switch because I'm like, yes, that's a cost-effective way to ramp up production, and I'm glad to see lithium iron phosphate potentially launching in more vehicle models instead of just the Model 3. But there's only one issue I take with Ford here, and the one little criticism I'll provide, and to be fair, yes, I criticize Tesla for their narratives around full self-driving self-driving quite a bit. But with Ford, especially with the CEO Jim Farley, they keep doubling down on this idea that they're going to catch Tesla, that they're going to ramp up production to the point that they can surpass Tesla. And I feel like if anybody just looks at the numbers that any of them are claiming, yeah, that's not anywhere close to happening. Right now, Ford is saying that they plan to secure enough battery materials for a run rate of 600,000 EVs per year by the end of 2023. So not the end of this year. And keep in mind, last year in 2021, Tesla delivered 936,000 vehicles. And on the last earnings call, Elon said that they expect at the end of 2022 to be at a run rate of 40,000 vehicles per week. That implies around 2 million per year, a year before Ford is hitting 600,000. I'm not trying to have a super unique perspective or opinion on this. I'm just literally telling you, here's how much Tesla is building, here's how much Ford is building. So I don't know what reality Jim Farley's living in where he thinks that somehow by getting up to 600,000 in 2023 and hoping to secure 40 gigawatt hours of LFP batteries by 2026, they're somehow gonna surpass Tesla, who is gonna be at 2 million by the end of this year. Very likely going to continue that trend as Giga Berlin ramps up, Giga Texas ramps up, and they've said they're going to announce new Gigafactory locations later this year. Not to mention, because Tesla's vehicles are more aerodynamic, they're more efficient, and Ford is already saying, yeah, we want to target 150,000 F-150 Lightnings by next year. Yeah, from the get-go, that automatically confirms you're gonna need over 100 kilowatt hours per vehicle to do that, where most of Tesla's vehicles are between 60 and 80 kilowatt hours. So Ford needs to secure substantially more batteries than Tesla does because most of Tesla's vehicles are more efficient. It's cool that Ford is prioritizing pickup trucks because a lot of people need those. I'm not denying that, but the concept that Ford is going to surpass Tesla in total vehicle deliveries is just complete nonsense when Tesla's literally over 3 times ahead of them a year in advance. I don't see that lead changing anytime soon, especially when Tesla is so cost effective with their batteries, reducing complexity with their manufacturing, and cutting out parts and being really simple with not just the interior design, but even the exterior designs and reusing parts where they can. I mean, just watch a Sandy Munro video of the Ford Mach-E underneath that frunk versus the Tesla Model Y. Like, it's night and day difference in terms of engineering simplicity. So yeah, even with factories that don't exist yet, I am fully convinced that Tesla can ramp much, much faster than Ford can. So I wish they would stop trying to have this narrative of we're gonna catch Tesla, we're gonna beat Tesla, because the likelihood of that happening is basically close to zero for me at this point. I mean, nothing's impossible, but I think they're just kind of setting themselves up for disappointment every time they say, yeah, we're gonna catch up, we're gonna beat Tesla. Just kind of agree we're all on the same page, right? Like, yeah, electric's the future, and we plan to make, the best electric vehicles in the business, and that can be more of a subjective, opinion-based thing. But don't go along the route of, we're gonna make more EVs than Tesla, because that's more of an objective statement that can be very easily proven wrong as time goes on. But I could easily see tons of Ford fans saying, yeah, I prefer the Mach-E to the Model Y, especially if it's getting lithium iron phosphate in the future, and will likely be substantially cheaper than the Model Y, even after dealer markups. Same thing with the F-150 Lightning. I mean, Ford can already hold that over Tesla and say, at least we actually delivered an electric pickup truck. Tesla can't say that yet. And as much as I would love there to be a lithium iron phosphate Cybertruck in the future, I gotta admit, it's probably not gonna happen because Tesla is likely gonna prioritize higher price Cybertrucks and not worry too much about the cost, more so about the range and the production efficiency, and that's why I expect the Cybertruck's gonna keep using 4680 cells and likely be priced closer in line with a Model S and X than it is a Model 3 and Y. And given they haven't even installed the Gigapress at Giga Texas yet, we've still got a ways to go before Cybertruck deliveries begin, but Ford, they get to brag about, hey, F-150 Lightnings, they're out. People are driving them. They exist. And they're gonna have a pretty substantial lead over Tesla in the pickup truck market. But at the end of the day, Tesla's goal still is to accelerate the transition to sustainable energy, and for them, that means delivering the most amount of vehicles possible, not so much about what kind of vehicles you're delivering. Saying you've delivered more EVs with beds than another company is a kind of cool metric, but Tesla's thinking bigger than that. They don't mind if they're behind in the pickup truck space because they're so much more substantially ahead in the total vehicle market. So good job, Ford. I'm glad you're signing the contracts with CATL. And also, please make it easy to know when you're buying an EV that has lithium iron phosphate in it. I hope they can brand all Mach-E's that are using LFP with a certain lettering or certain trim or something, like, you know, when you're getting one, so people understand that the cycle life is going to be higher and that they can charge it more differently. Same thing with the F-150. Like, if all the Pro variants got LFP, that would be fantastic. So good news for both companies, with just a little cherry of criticism on both of the ways they talk about each other. Hope you guys can understand my complex opinion on the subject, but I appreciate everyone on Patreon supporting this channel directly. Seriously, helps me out a ton, as does just watching these videos. So thanks again. Have an excellent rest of your day.